Happy Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Living with S. We're here at Park Inn by Radisson, and today's show is all about InterswitchSPAK Kenya. Now, it's a national competition that started earlier this week, and we've got a number of people who you will be seeing on your screens at some point. I'm pretty certain, Abigail, you will. Now, I've got Cynthia Kintai, who's the head of marketing at Interswitch, Abigail Mukene, who is one of the participants, and she's from Alliance Girls, and Bernard Odera, who's from Kanga High School, a teacher there, and one of the chaperones during InterswitchSPAK Kenya. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
So, Cynthia, I'd like to know a little bit more about Interswitch, and then also, or maybe we could start with InterswitchSPAK Kenya, and then you can tell me more about Interswitch.
Okay.
But tell me about the competition.
Sure. So InterswitchSPAK Kenya 1.0 is what we're calling it. Is a STEM competition, national quiz competition that we're running with Form 3 high school students across the country. And it's a televised quiz show. Yeah. It actually started airing on NTV on Sunday, this Sunday 10th at 6 p.m. Wow. And I'll tell you a little bit about how we came to this point. How did we end up with the students that we have on the competition? Yeah. And we actually had a qualifying test across the country it was in April. It was actually in April of this year, and we put out a call on a portal, online portal for students to register. Private, public, anybody in Form 3 had a chance to register. 6 of their students, science students in their school, and those that then registered came and sat a national qualifying test, which is how we ended up with 54 qualifiers. Wow. So these are the students that wrote the test and were the best in that competition, in the written test. Yeah. So those 54 students, we then are the ones that are competing in the televised quiz show. Oh wow! And we're going to end up with 3 winners. We have the first winner is going to have a 5-year scholarship to university, worth 1.5 million Kenya shillings, and a laptop and a stipend. Second, we'll have a 3-year scholarship worth 750,000 shillings and a laptop and a stipend. And the third winner will win a prize worth 150,000 and a laptop and a stipend. Exactly.
So why did you pick Form 3 students?
Okay, fantastic. So why Form 3? Because first of all, it is a year-long program. If you imagine that when we open up the registration, by the time we get students registered and then get them to come and sit the national qualifying test and then, do the recording. And as you can see, we're running in November. Yeah. And so because of that, obviously Form 4 students, are very busy. This is their final year. They're preparing for examinations. So we didn't want to disrupt that schedule. Yeah. Form 3 students are also great because they've already done the first 2 years and know what their subject interest areas are. So those that are science inclined have already selected that they're going to go the science route. Right. And so these are perfect because they now know they're science students and they can go full in on the science competition.
Okay, makes sense. So Abigail, how did you hear about the InterswitchSPAK Kenya competition?
I learned it from my teacher, Ms. Kakwa. She's the one who registered us and told us about it while we were in school.
Yeah. And was it, for you, was it exciting at the time? Were you like, oh gosh, listen, I have so much work to do. Let me just focus. Did you battle at all? Were you just ready to jump in?
It was quite exciting. It was really good. It was such a good opportunity because I love science and it involved science, so I was really ready for it.
Yeah. Have you always loved science?
Yeah, well, right from primary school.
Really?
Yeah.
I struggled a little with. How did you guys do with sciences and maths and everything? How did you?
I would say that I'm not a natural science student.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Bernard, tell me a little bit about yourself and why this seemed of interest to you.
Okay, first of all, I being a science teacher, I'm a mathematics and physics teacher. So when I learned about this in the media, I took that opportunity to register my students in the competition. Yeah. Though at the beginning I did not know much about it, but through going to the internet and watching the videos that were recorded then, I got more interested, and then I even sent some of the clips to my colleagues in other schools through the social media.
Oh, wow.
And that's
Get
how
them to enroll the students?
Yes. Even though many ignored, but I think in the next round they will participate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was it easy trying to identify the 6 students that you thought would be right for this?
It was quite challenging because while in our school science has never been a problem to the boys, and you find that one would be so good in physics but not very good in biology, so balancing to get the best 6 was not easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you have to be good in, does it cut across with the quiz? Like, so science, technology?
So because it's a school, I mean the students that are participating are in school, we have to base the questions on what they're learning. And so we actually use the 4 science subjects. So that's math, physics, chemistry and biology.
Okay.
So you sit
Math, physics, chemistry,
and
biology.
biology.
Okay.
So you do a paper that covers all those 4 subject areas. Yes.
Okay, so now tell me a little bit about Interswitch.
Okay,
Cynthia,
yes.
How did Interswitch come about? What do you do? And why was this important for Interswitch?
Thank you. So Interswitch is a payments company, and we have our head offices in Nigeria and offices in Kenya as well, and in Uganda. And we are in the payments industry, technology payments. So we facilitate payments for both individuals and also institutions. So institutions that need to collect money, need to pay out money, the whole area of electronic payments is what we deal with.
Oh. So no relation to education?
So
learning.
No, we're not an education institution, but we are a technology company.
Right.
And so you can see now the relationship between Interswitch and SPAK, InterswitchSPAK, because being a STEM competition, a lot of the people that we work with are engineers, and you know, they work payments. Obviously, to facilitate, you need to do a lot of systems engineers, and so for us, STEM is where we will get our future employees. It is also where the future workers, employees across the world are going to come from, because everything we do now is STEM related, and so we saw it as really worthwhile to invest. For us, it is a pure investment as part of our corporate social responsibility to say we want to uplift the standards of STEM, and we think we can start from high school and really also start to demonstrate that STEM is not just about books, because sometimes it looks like it's just, you know, really heavy stuff, but there's so much you can do with STEM. And some very exciting things. And so we just want to open people up to the idea that STEM can be both very serious, but also very fun. And yes.
Yeah. Bernard, how long have you been a teacher for? 15 years. So in the 15 years, how has the attitude towards the sciences or math changed or shifted when it comes to your field as an educator? Have you found that there's been certain shifts around people's interest in it or curiosity about it, and participation in general?
Well, I think there is more interest in science nowadays compared to about 10 years back, because right now there are so many openings that are there for science students. You know, like let's say 15 years back, these technological companies were not so many. But right now there are just too many, and they require a lot of science. So currently there is a shift from humanities towards science. Maybe if I give an example of my school, like the Form 3s are about 400, but physics and biology are optionals. But you find that over 350 are choosing them to take them in Form 4.
Yeah, but are they doing it because maybe it's expected, and that's, you just, and maybe I should ask Abigail. I should ask Abigail this question. So do you take physics and chemistry, obviously. So did you pick those because it was expected of you, and you sort of feel like, oh, I guess I have to, everyone, is waiting for me to pick those, or do you feel like with you and your peers that there's a general interest that people want to learn, take those sciences more?
I believe people are really interested in them because considering the fact that they're not compulsory and many people are taking them, yeah, it's not a thing that is expected of us, but it's out of interest.
Interest. Wow. So how do you keep up with all the changes in technology, Bernard, as an educator, given how, I mean, it's almost every other month there's a new there's a new discovery, a new different understanding, deeper layered understanding of the sciences. Do you find it hard to sort of have these books that you've had picked out for you for, you know, as part of the syllabus, but there's so much more that's happening? How do you balance between what you're teaching and all the changes in technology that keep taking place?
Well, apart from following what the syllabus requires, I also go so much into the internet, and at times you may find that there are some points given in the books which may not be, I mean, given in the internet, which may not be in the books. So having gone into the internet, I also include them, those points, as part of my notes. Yeah, so that currently you cannot depend entirely on the textbooks.
On the textbooks.
You must be a technological person.
Yeah, I can imagine just how much as an educator that's changed for everyone really, because things are just, if you're teaching about business, you know, the ideas that we were taught 10, 15 years ago, a lot of them are obsolete today, and there's just so many new discoveries taking place every single day. All right, so InterswitchSPAK, let's talk a little bit about what to expect. How has it been for you, Abigail? Was it what you expected going in?
Oh, it's a lot of what I expected. We had the qualifying test, as you heard, and then now the second stage, which is a TV quiz show. It was a lot of fun, and we got to learn more of science. Yeah.
How was the qualifying test? Was it? How would you gauge it? Is it hard? If you know, because I'm sure now there'll be more and more students and teachers who are like who want to sign up for 2.0, right? Which will most likely be next year. So, what would you say about the qualifying test? Was it?
It's really long. It's a long paper, considering the fact that we have to take 1 hour to do all the 4 subjects. But it's not hard. Anyone who signs up for it and works hard will get us.
So tell me about the competition itself. What was it like?
The competition was quite tough. Yeah, the questions are related to what we're learning at school. Yeah, but it was an interesting time. We really enjoyed our time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you find it? Was it what you expected as Interswitch, having put this together?
Yes, absolutely. We recognize obviously that being the first lot of students, it's very new. You know, the ones who will watch it this year will start to get a sense of it. Right. But the students that did it this year really pretty much got thrown in at the deep end.
Yeah.
Because the competition, it's very competitive. SPAK stands for speed, perseverance, accuracy, and knowledge. And so all these things are coming together when you actually stand now in the studio. Yeah. So you have to answer very quickly. You have to get the answer very quickly. It needs to be the right answer.
Yeah.
So you're putting all these things together and you're competing against fellow students. So we use a buzzer system in the first part of it. You need to buzz as soon as you know the answer. You need to, put it in.
Tension wasn't high. I mean, you're making it sound like it was good. Everything she's describing sounds like. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's quite some tension on the platform. Yeah, you have to really be quick while answering the questions, and you have to follow in. But if with enough knowledge, as she said, it will be a smooth ride.
Yeah. A national STEM competition that's going to be airing every Sunday at 6 p.m. And I have got Cynthia, Abigail, and Bernard. So I want to hear a little bit about InterswitchSPAK Nigeria, because I know that was the one that started this last year. So how did that go? What was the first season?
It was
like?
phenomenal, actually. So it was their first year last year, and again, they just opened up the registration portal to schools across Nigeria. And they had, I think, in the region of 15,000 students registered. Wow. Yes, and they came from all over Nigeria, and then they brought them all into Lagos for the actual competition, as well as another segment that we call the masterclass, which we also did as part of Kenya 1.0. And as I mentioned earlier, because for us it's not just about the cut and dried subjects, we want STEM to be about also growing the student. So what we did is that we got corporate leaders to come and spend a day with our students. Yes.
Is that in Nigeria or?
We did it in Nigeria and we did it in Kenya as well this year.
So the 54 students.
The 54 students in Kenya got to spend a day with corporate leaders. You know, we had we had the CEO of Pesalink, we had director for Microsoft for Africa, we had the strategy director for Barclays Bank. You know, we had our partners UNESCO, because this program is run in partnership with UNESCO and the Ministry of Education. And they spent a day with the students, and the whole idea was to show them where you can get to with a STEM career. And it's not your obvious always doctor, doctor or engineer, you know. And I think it would be great to hear from the students.
What was it like, Abigail?
The masterclass was great. We got to interact with the speakers. We learned a lot, including the importance of STEM. Agnes talked about STEM and the future of work, and we learned quite a lot. And
so, I'm curious to know what is STEM in the future.
She talks about in the job market in the coming few years, most of the work that is repetitive will be automated. So you need to be ready for that, and as we choose our careers, because we are doing that, we need to be considering such stuff. And it is important to learn how to code and a lot to do with technology.
Yeah. I'm curious, do you feel that any kind of pressure when it comes to trying to figure out what you want to do? Is there that, or what is that like, trying to decide what career path to step into?
There's lots of pressure from all around. Everyone comes up with different careers that they think you're good at and you should take. So when it comes to deciding, you really have to do a lot of research and take your time before making a decision, because it's a really great decision.
I mean, we have people in their 30s who are still like, what do I want to do? So I can only imagine. Do you know what you want to do? Well, what's that?
I'd like to take a course in mechatronic engineering, because it's a multidisciplinary branch of engineering. It's not limited, so I'll be very flexible in the job market.
Bernard, do you find that a lot of your students have that kind of clarity quite early on, that they know what they want to do? Or are they just bombarded by so many options now? And some that are obsolete. Maybe when they started, they thought, oh, I can be this. And now they're like, oh, it looks like cars are now driverless. So maybe, I don't know if that will work anymore.
Well, the truth of the matter is that nowadays, most of the parents are informed. So they start advising their kids at very young age. So most of the students nowadays know what they really want to do.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you don't find any kind of, just confusion with regards to what career that they want to step into? Is there any mentorship there?
A few may have that problem, but normally we advise them, because in the schools we have the career guidance department, which also happen to head in my school. So we advise them on what courses they are supposed to do based on their ability. But there are those that come right in Form 1, knowing that I want to do this, and they work towards that.
And they keep going.
Yeah.
That's incredible focus. Like, that's incredible vision for themselves. So as the head of career guidance in your school, what are some of the top careers that you find more and more students stepping into, and which ones have you seen slowly over the years that there are fewer people interested in?
Well, most of the students in my school normally go for medicine, engineering courses. Yeah. But very few normally go for business courses.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on that? You too, Cynthia.
Me
like,
as well?
Yeah. Like, I'm curious to hear, what are your thoughts on that, you know, going into more of the sciences and those disciplines?
In terms of the future, I think that is the future of, that is global. It's actually a global phenomenon. It's not about Kenya or about Africa. As you're saying, everything we do now, it almost doesn't matter whether, even those that will do humanities and business, you're going to end up interacting with technology in some shape or form. And so really STEM has become like the underlying, it's the basis for most of what we do nowadays. And so globally, there is definitely that shift towards STEM. And as Abigail said, they were encouraged to learn how to code. And coding is becoming one of those things that apparently people do. Yeah. they just do it, you know? Yeah. And so you can imagine a world where people already can figure out stuff like that themselves. I mean, it will not be, you know, even the ones that I believe will do the medicine and the engineering will rely a lot on technology to get what they do done, isn't it? You know?
Wow. So do you think in 10, 20 years, almost all careers will have some elements of STEM? In any career choice that you opt to go into, do you think they will, or?
Well, somehow, I believe there'll be some little element of STEM in every career.
Yeah.
Because take something like a computer. Nowadays, computer is everything and everywhere.
Yeah.
And that is part of STEM.
Yeah. You can't run away from that.
You cannot run away from it.
So would you say that in Kenya, we are trying to incorporate a lot of that in the education system and in our syllabuses, trying to make sure that we have, you know, whether it's like computers or coding, and how is that being received by the students?
Yeah, I think the government has tried, though has not done much. The government came up with schools in the counties, and they call them STEM schools, and they're supporting them with the technology, the computer, free internet, and all that. So I think the government is trying in supporting STEM.
Yeah. All right, so I have a confession to make. I feel like I should have started with this. I didn't actually do chemistry in high school, and I struggle today to figure out why chemistry is compulsory, and if it really does have an impact in your career, in your life in some way. Maybe it does. Maybe someone's like, oh, that's why. If she had done chemistry, things would have been so different. But so what are your thoughts? Do you think some of these subjects should be compulsory, given if you do believe that that's where the world is shifting? Do you think that some of them should be compulsory, or what?
Well, it may be so, but it cannot be true. Because, okay, first of all, the sciences, the biology, chemistry, and physics, none of them is compulsory. But most schools normally tend to put chemistry as one of the compulsories because it's simpler compared to physics.
Simpler?
Yeah.
Is that? No. Did you do chemistry, Cynthia?
No, I didn't.
Oh, so you didn't either? Yeah. Wait, is chemistry... I loved biology.
Yes.
Chemistry is simpler? Lies you tell, sir. Lies you tell.
Well, that's
sir.
According to me, it's simpler.
No, please, sir. Oh my goodness. Chemistry? No. Okay. So do you think that it should be compulsory, or some of these sciences?
Yeah. If we are working towards the Vision 2030, and I think the science and technology will be key in that kind of development. You cannot develop a country by learning about Vasco da Gama, yeah? But when you learn about new things, the technology, that's how the country becomes developed. Right. So the science, I think, should be compulsory.
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't agree, because you find that some students are good in sciences, yes, I agree, but the others whose focus is on the arts, someone who can do all the humanities very well compared to the sciences. So I believe all subjects should be optional.
Yeah,
I choose what you're good at.
With you. I think Cynthia might be on that train as well. I think, for it to just be optional and decide. But it's interesting to note that regardless, it looks like most people are still choosing. You were saying earlier that most of your classmates have chosen it, and it seems to be voluntary rather than it being something that they've been pushed or coerced into. So let's talk about Nigeria a little. I know, Bernard, you were a chaperone, and that was your first time, Abigail. What was it like?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
The trip itself was really enjoyable. We got there and we interacted with the Nigerians. They're really
The Nigerian
friendly.
students or who?
Yeah, students.
Nigerian students?
Yeah, and even the people out there who are guiding us through the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how are the Nigerian students compared to Kenyan students? Did you find that? Did you do any competitions among
No, we didn't
Okay.
compete with them, but
Okay.
we talked a lot. So we talked about the education systems, comparing them
And
in the
how was it?
country.
I want to. Yeah, that's
Oh.
the juice. I want to hear. What is it like?
So okay, according to what they said, I think they're studying quite a lot more than what we're doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they are divided. They have junior secondary school and senior secondary school, where they get to advance more when they get to senior secondary school, which does not happen here. But they get to specialize.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Bernard, what was it like? Did you speak to any of the educators in Nigeria? And did you
Yeah.
compare notes?
We met a few teachers there, and we shared quite a lot. Their system compared to ours, I think they are more advanced, a little, and I think that's why we are heading to by introduction of CBC, where we shall have the junior and senior secondary schools, which already they have there. But they are nice people. They are very welcoming, though they talk so loudly.
Yeah, you can't ignore Nigeria. Like you would have to recognize. Wow, that's a group of Nigerians. What was it like for you, Cynthia?
So yeah, the logistics was, to be honest, quite challenging. Each and every one of the students had to get passports, had to get clearance to leave the country, getting them all on a plane, getting them over to the other side, and we spent a week with them during the recording, and just being there. It was an interesting experience, I would say. One that's very involving, but I think one that also made us very, how would I say, gratified, because the exposure that they were able to get was really nice to see. And just the excitement, they got to pose with the captain, the pilot on the plane and things like that. So I think it was an excellent experience for them.
I think it must be. I mean, I think to be able to be exploring the world and trying to also interact with peers in another country, that's just opening up your world in such an amazing way, and that's how you start to broaden your perspective, and things start to shift quite early on. So the fact that you've created this opportunity for 54 students, I think, is incredible.
And I must say, I asked Abigail. So when you came back, what did your fellow students want to know about? And all they wanted to know about was the trip.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And how long was the trip?
A week.
Okay, a week. I now want to know a little bit about the parents and what their reactions were, or other stakeholders in this. What have been their reactions? And we can start with you, Abigail. What did your parents think about this?
Oh, my parents were very happy about it. They were really excited that I'll be going outside the country, and being chosen for the competition in itself was a really great opportunity for me. So they were really happy for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And the trip as well. Was this your first time leaving the country without them?
Yeah.
Wow. And what about you? Did you interact with the parents or get any questions? What are some of the questions or concerns that were raised from parents, if any?
To be honest, we really didn't get a lot of concerns from the parents.
Yeah.
Not really, actually. I think they were all very happy about the fact that their children got an opportunity to travel. Yeah. We didn't get any objections to the trip to Nigeria. Yeah. We thought we might get a few people who say, I don't want my child to travel. None of that happened. I think the only thing for the parents was obviously the logistical element of getting passports for their children and everything. But other than that, I think, except unless they were sharing this with the teachers, we were quite okay.
Did you interact with any parents that felt or had any, or it may not even be concerns, but something that they pointed out as, that you'd like to share as something that they thought was important?
One of the parents, I remember asking me about the Boko Haram, how safe their sons would be. But I told him that their sons would be taken good care of. Yeah. And actually, while there, we were given police escort we were very safe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
but-
all was well.
But we're very excited.
Yeah, I'm curious about the teachers that you shared this with, and some of them ignored, at first. Did they come back like, wow, what, Bernard? What is this story again, and when is it happening?
Yeah,
Have
when
you
I
found
was-
more interest?
When I was now sending the photos to the social media, the WhatsApp group, that is when most of them were now calling to ask me.
Actually, what was that? What was that thing that you were telling us again? About?
And I think in the next episode, there'll be more. I mean, big numbers.
Yeah. So
We really hope so, because I would say that was our big challenge for this first year. Interesting, because in Nigeria apparently people just jump into things and do them, and so as you heard, they had a lot of students registered,
Thousands, yeah.
thousands, But for us in Kenya, it wasn't. There's a lot of let's wait and
Trepidation,
see,
yeah.
trepidation. People are not sure what is this. We even had some students that signed up but didn't bring their students to sit the test, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so we're really hoping that now that they see it on TV and they see how much it opens up for their students, that they will all register, because we want every part of Kenya to be part of this competition.
Yeah.
There are no restrictions. We're really happy that we got schools from marginalized areas. We had a school sit the test in Peketoni in Lamu.
Oh.
We had a school sit the test in Pokot. I mean, we had schools from,
Yeah.
some areas that are very far, and they managed to register and sit the test.
Yeah.
And so we really want anybody, any school in Kenya, to register and
Yeah.
just be part of this.
And did you have both private and public schools?
Private and
A good
public,
mix?
we opened it up to everybody. The only caveat was that if you are in a mixed school, you needed to have a minimum of 3 girls register, because we didn't want a situation where a mixed school puts up only boys for the STEM competition.
Yeah.
We didn't actually have to worry about it at all, it turns out,
Yeah.
because we had almost an equal representation of boys and girls in the competition.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good story, and when people watch it on TV, they will see it's a fair test. Everybody's sitting it. There is no manipulation, and when they come in front of the TV cameras and start to compete, they're competing.
Yeah.
Fair on, head on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
So what can we expect over the next few weeks that the show is running?
Oh, absolutely exciting show.
Yeah.
You sit there with your heart in your mouth because so you have students sitting up there, and so there's like 3 parts to it. So in the first one you have 6 students up, and they do the first phase of the show. After the first one, 2 students are immediately eliminated. And then 4 move on to the more advanced stage, and then 2 of them are the ones that will proceed to compete with other groups in the preliminary stages. So it's an absolutely competitive show, but very exciting.
I love a good competition.
Yeah.
Like watching, and it's like, oh, who's going to win? And having a
Exactly.
favorite,
Yes.
and hoping that you see them
And
through another good
rooting for
competition.
somebody,
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic.
Bernard, I imagine you're rooting for your students. How far are your students in? Well, you have 6 students in. Do you?
Yes, 6 did the exam,
Okay.
but 4 qualified.
Okay, 4 qualified.
Yeah.
So you're obviously rooting for your 4.
Yeah, I hope they'll beat everybody else and come out victors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Competition, I think, is good. And
Competition is good and it's healthy, and that's why, in fact, in the format of this program, we said that teachers are very instrumental, because teachers are actually the ones who register the students right at the beginning into the portal. So because it's them who know their students, they know their strengths, and they need to put students in there that can go out there and compete.
Yeah.
So it's not random, and because it's competition, and we think competition is healthy. Yeah.
I think so too. So tell me about the partners. I know you mentioned them a little bit, but why? How did you go about seeking out these?
So we're working.
partners?
We're working with UNESCO and the Ministry of Education. And how this comes about is because the Ministry of Education works with several partners to do some of the programs that they do. And UNESCO and NACOSTI, National Commission for Science and Technology Innovation, they are members of what they call the STEM Committee of the Ministry of Education. They have a STEM program that is already running where they mentor girls in STEM. And so they go to schools and mentor girls in STEM across, from I think Form 1 through to Form 4. And so it fitted in very well with that program because being another STEM competition, this one at a slightly different level, they were very happy to take, to bring it on and help us run with it. So it's been absolutely fantastic because I think also for the ministry in terms of their own goals, this program fits in very well with them. In terms of encouraging learning of STEM subjects, it reinforces what they're already doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what next for Interswitch? What are you hoping to put out there? And is the next project going to involve students?
So this program, for
yeah.
now, we want to really entrench this program. This program is an annual show, so this is not the end of it. Next year, we have another lot of Form 3s that have to...
And you've heard now, you sign up early.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't wait until someone posts on Facebook
absolutely.
and you're like, wow,
as soon as we open the portal, please put your students in there. We also discovered that some of the teachers were a little proactive and they made sure that those students that they signed up for, they spent some time with them, just bringing them up to speed. And I think it will show in the competition. Yeah. But anyway, so it's going to be every year. We're going to run this every year for the Form 3 students. We are going to have to be launching in Uganda as well.
Oh.
Yes, we will launch in Uganda because we also have offices. And so we're looking at this as an Africa-wide thing. In Interswitch, we really are an African company and we believe that we should really build here in Africa. And we don't have to wait for people to come and do this for us. So we want to open it up to as many as possible. When they go to Nigeria, towards the end of this competition, we will have our students and Nigerian students collaborate on a project together. Again, just allowing them, as Abigail said, they had a chance to chat with some of the students, but now allowing them to work together on a project, and see, how does that come, how does that work out? Yeah.
Oh, we should do an cross inter-country competition. No, seriously, don't you think? Or would that be even more pressure? Then I think that would be really fire. I think that would be really nice.
Do you think we should do a competition?
Yeah, that would be
really
fun. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, once I guess once you get the Uganda one going, then I'm sure in the future there will be something, and it could be like a mini version where you take the top 3 from each region.
Yes. I know.
This is going to be good. This is going to be good. Bernard, what was the most exciting part of this of this so far? What's been the most exciting part for you?
Well, for me, the most exciting part is seeing how the students were answering the questions very fast. And, it requires a lot of thinking. You think very fast and give your answers very fast. Yeah. That was the most exciting part.
Yeah. And what would you share with other educators when it comes to mentorship? Because you were a chaperone, when you did go to Nigeria and you were interacting with the students quite a bit. What kind of tips would you share for educators when it comes to competitions or even just exams? Maybe they're not doing a competition, but there's something that they've set for themselves as a goal, and as a student that they've set for themselves as a goal. So how would you advise a teacher to show up for the student?
Well, what I would tell my colleague teachers is that whenever there is an opportunity, let us not look down upon it. Let us expose the students because you never know where they will be in the future. So if we expose them, maybe one day they'll think of you.
Right. Oh, bless. Abigail, what was the most exciting?
The most exciting part was the tour to Nigeria.
Yeah.
And the TV quiz show was also really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did, during the break, I did
ask her if she tasted Nigerian food, and she said just one, and it was super spicy. Super spicy. Actually, what was the most memorable part of Nigeria? Not the competition aside, I'm curious to know what your experience.
The most interesting part of Nigeria was going to Victoria Island.
Oh.
Yeah, the bridge, we passed through a bridge over the sea that is about 20 kilometers long. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, just walking around the parks.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So you did get to tour a little. Oh, that sounds like a good trip. That sounds like a fun trip. And what about you? What's been the most exciting bit so far?
Most exciting part of this honestly, it's just the whole, for me, it's everything coming together. So, you know, sometimes when you're doing some of these things, there's a lot of stuff that you're doing in the background, a lot of, you know, logistical things. But for me, when we got the students together, we now knew the 54 students and they were here and we could see them getting to know each other. So during the masterclass, we spent some time, you know, getting the kids to break the ice, you know, introduce yourselves, feel comfortable. There was a little bit of dancing, just to loosen them up, getting them confident for the screen. Because you need a lot of confidence to get in front of cameras and not get so nervous that you can't do what you need to do, and just seeing them step up.
Oh, good. Well, thank you, and I wish you all the best. I can't wait to see that inter-country competition a couple of years down the line, and all the best, Abigail. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's show, and thank you to Parkin by Radisson. We'll be back here tomorrow, 8 a.m., so I'll see you there. Bye, everybody.